So much, Antonio.
Thank you, Simon, for your introduction. Hi, everyone. As Simon said, I'm going to talk about my personal experience. Since I was finishing my PhD project, I will start how I got into acoustics. And then I'm going to talk about all my years being a postdoc until I got an academic position, which was my goal, what I wanted to do. So I've been in some of these phases myself, and I like it when I saw the other day because it's quite true, to be honest. Your perspective as you progress in your career, and yeah, I just like it. It's gonna be a few of these memes in my presentation. I'm gonna use. As you can recognize from my accent, I'm not from Manchester. I'm not from the UK. I'm from South Spain. So I was living in that beautiful city, Granada. I did my BSc in Environmental Engineering. Actually, I wasn't particularly interested in acoustics. Probably one of the modules where I got a worst mark was one containing acoustics. So I didn't look at that, but then I was finishing my degree, and it's something really interesting that we have in Spain is during the last year of your degree, you have the opportunity. So the groups, departments, they have some funding to get graduates, final year students to do some research or to start doing some research. So someone approached me, do you want to do this research? It was environmental noise. Okay, it's environmental, it's something, okay, that's good. I will start doing that. So I did that during my final year, and I really enjoyed the part of, doing research, doing something that is, you don't find solutions in a book. It's kind of, you kind of learn and you do yourself. Then I received some funding from the Spanish government to do my PhD, and I specialize in environmental acoustics. My PhD was in transportation noise, and what I try to do is modeling of transportation noise in southern countries with different streets and different geometries of the streets compared to other northern cities. So I use some machine learning to do that modeling. So I was doing my PhD, and to be honest, I was going through the usual phases as you do a PhD. You are really excited, and then it's this kind of hole you get into. What I'm doing, I have no idea what is going to be the end of my PhD. When I was figuring out what the end of my PhD was going to be, I was focusing only on finishing. But then from the moment you are finishing or close to finish is what I'm doing now after getting my PhD. So I kind of knew I wanted to be a researcher. And in that moment, I was living in Spain. It was in the middle of this financial crisis that Joe saw this morning. It was 2010 when I finished. So I was aware of being a researcher you want to be in academia. So what I wanted to do is, okay, let's have some time and let's try to get some funding, some fellowships to continue training myself and become a researcher. So what I did was I had a look at some opportunities, and I have a little bit of time. I have some my supervisor, they have some funding for me to continue working there for a year in the University of Granada. And then that gave me some time to prepare some applications. So interestingly, I submitted 3 applications. The most competitive by far was the Marie Curie Fellowship. I don't know if you're aware of those, but those are fellowships granted by the European Union, and they're highly competitive. And it was quite a surprise when I got that one. I didn't got the other two. The other two was one for institution in Spain and the other one institution in Belgium. So it was quite exciting, and it's kind of okay. This is giving me time to proceed in my career and basically do the research I wanted to do. So that gave me the opportunity. I think that was a kind of a really good opportunity for me, because I had the opportunity to come to the UK, go to work in one of the most recognized groups working in acoustics in the world, like Institute of Sound and Vibration in the University of Southampton. So the way I have my first bullet point there, or my first advice is prepare as many applications as you can, because you don't really know. You might think this is highly challenging, and everyone competing in these fellowships. I mean, you saw Ellie this morning. You know, it's very qualified people. You are going to compete with. You know, it's going to be a significant competition. So you need to try, and you need to try to present your research, your science, and what you want to do. The other thing is that I think that Trevor and Ellie in her presentation this morning, you need to get used to rejection. So the first one, when I got the first fellowship rejected, it was a bit okay. It's gonna be really difficult. I'm not getting anything here, and then suddenly you get something positive. But in all the rejections, I guess you need to take the positive aspects and try to use that in your benefit to put together stronger and stronger applications. Well, I started my postdoc, and my main point is that I have the opportunity to work for 3 years in my research as part of my Marie Curie fellowship. But then I was finishing my fellowship, and I was offered a position as research fellow at the ISVR. Then I continued doing research there, promoted to senior research fellow. But then there was a point where I was thinking, what I'm going to do. So I can continue be here in Southampton, being a research fellow or senior research fellow. Pretty much is the same thing, to be honest. Senior research fellow, working for others, basically doing the research. I was enjoying what I was doing, but at the end of the day, it's like I would like to be an academic, an independent researcher myself. I want to create my own group. I want to have my own funding, and potentially, I mean, that was one of the things. I want to get a lectureship. I want to remain in academia. From that moment, also, I was thinking other options, other, continue research in other institutions. But I was really enjoying academic life, so I wanted to remain there. So if you want to stay in academia, at the end of the day, you need to stop relying on others' money. So you need to kind of move yourself away from your supervisor, from your line manager, and start getting your own money. And it's not easy, because you have commitments. So you are a full-time researcher working on someone else's project, and you need to deliver things. At the same time, you need to find the time to try to apply for your own funding, and it's not easy. So I think it was probably 2016 when I was starting to realize, okay, I need to do something. I need to start doing things differently, probably. So basically, I came up with an action plan I have in my mind of things I could do. And again, this is probably nothing new. Ellie mentioned some of this this morning, probably. So I wanted to enhance my CV. Okay, I want to enhance my CV, do more things beyond research. By then, I was publishing. I was, as I was expected. But I wanted to do more. So I offered myself to do some teaching activities. This is the kind of thing you need to, I mean, you don't get any more money or something like that, but basically you get a little bit of responsibility. You show your department, your group, that you are able to do teaching. So my department then was really, really helpful with that. Also, you need to show leadership. You need to find any opportunity to show your peers, your colleagues, that you're gonna become a leader, or you are gonna be able to lead someone in the future. So I took part in a number of activities when I was in Southampton. One of the things I think we did, or I'm happy to get involved, was so we created this group of senior researchers, something like this. Senior researchers talking to junior researchers, final year PhD students, or early career postdocs, to talk about what were the challenges for them, give advice, try to do this and do that, try to show them what is working, is not working, what are the things, trying to give them advice. Other thing that you could do is try to secure some funding yourself. Again, early this morning, she mentioned that she was co-I in an EPSRC proposal. That's brilliant if your university allows you to do that, or your institution allows you to do that. In my case, it was a bit more difficult, but I managed to apply for some funding from an aircraft manufacturer. I was working on aircraft noise with them. So I managed to apply for some funding from an aircraft manufacturer. And I got that funding, and I was showing my university that I was able to put together a research proposal and start getting some money. I think it's Trevor Cox's words. Sometime when I talk to him, it is all about money. This was part of the discussion when I was applying for my promotion. At the end of the day, it is, the money you bring to a university is a significant factor in getting your promotion. Also, doing some networking. So at first, when I was attending a conference, I was more relying on my supervisors to introduce myself to other colleagues. And I was more in the, not trying to interact with a lot of people. I was quite shy. And then you realize you need to talk to people. You need to talk about your research. You need to establish alliances with other researchers. And I would say, don't be afraid of approaching this fancy professor or this researcher in NASA, because, what you have to lose. I mean, you talk about what you're doing, you talk about something interesting, you read from them, you are using probably some of their methods. So creating that network is really important for you, because, again, Jo mentioned that this morning as well in her talk, is at the end of the day, is you can get help from that people in terms of position, opportunities. Then if you remain in academia, is collaborating in research proposals on some activities. So again, if you want to remain in academia, you should try and ask your university to supporting you as an independent researcher. It's not easy. In my case, it wasn't easy, but at the end of the day, if you show yourself in your department that you can become an academic, your colleagues are gonna help you with that. I mean, senior colleagues. In our case, was so in the university that we could be REF returnable. REF is a research excellent framework. We could produce on science and then become independent researchers. Apply for fellowships. Again, try to identify opportunities. Keep an eye on requirements, because sometimes you get this, you need to apply before 3 years after you submitted your PhD, those sort of requirements. But keep an eye on those and try to apply as much as possible. Every professor you're going to see here talking about, I got 10 million in funding and this, 20 different projects. There's probably another 50 projects that weren't funded. So keep trying, keep applying as much as you can. For me, probably you find your research niche. So, okay, you are doing your research, and you are relying in other people's work. But if you want to become an independent researcher, you need to define your research. And it's really difficult because you need to show, and I guess when you apply for these fellowships, you need to show yourself as you are not depending on your supervisor. This is something innovative, something novel you are proposing to do. So it's kind of difficult to define your own research. And this was part of the conversations I have with a postdoc is working for me, with me at the moment, is what do you want to do? Do you want to apply for a fellowship? But what is the actual research you want to do? For me, it was probably, I was in this conference in Germany in 2016, and there was this guy from NASA talking about novel aircraft designs and all the challenges that there will be in terms of, modeling that noise, what is going to be the response of people living exposed to that noise. And I was thinking, oh, there are things that I can do to solve that problem. And then it was when I was starting talking about or working or thinking about drone noise and perception-driven engineering, trying to embed psychoacoustics into the design of drones and aircraft, etc. But it's really difficult the moment you get, this is the research I want to do. So finally, after 9 years of postdoc, I got a lectureship. I must thank Trevor left. I must thank Trevor for the opportunity. Actually, funny story. I applied for a fellowship. Sorry, I applied for a lectureship offered by the University of Salford. I did the interview and I didn't get the job. Someone else, another colleague, got that job. Luckily for me, I did a good interview, and Trevor gave me a call, asked me whether I would be whether I would be interested in taking another role, another lectureship. So if you want to remain in academia in acoustics, there are not so many opportunities, there are not so many groups, so it's quite challenging. So from the moment you see an opportunity, go for it with everything you can, because it's not easy. And then again, probably you can expect what's going to be next, but from the moment you get, be careful with what you want to get, because then if you get it, you need to do the job. So you start your academic career and you think that is kind of, you get to the goal, is you made it, but then it's absolutely crazy. Especially if you start in 2019, at the end of 2019, and a few months later, COVID happened. It was really difficult for me. So when you start a new post, you have all the worries of start doing something new. Then you need to prepare your teaching. And it's not the same thing that you do some lectures from someone else. You need to prepare your module. You need to get all your admin ready. You need to acquire quite a lot of information quite quickly. Then in my case, I want you to be research active. So I want you to be a traditional academic doing research and teaching. And so if you want to remain research active, your university, or at least our university, gives you some time to gather some funding. But after that, if you don't show yourself getting funding, you might get more and more teaching. So it's kind of challenging at the beginning. So you need to show that you are reference-able. You need to produce 3-star, 4-star publications. You need to demonstrate that you do research impact. You need to secure some funding, which again is the most difficult thing. You need to create your own research team, which is at the end of the day what you want to do. You want to become an independent researcher. You want to have your team working with you. You need to show leadership, do quite a lot of admin. So it's kind of stressful at first. Then it goes better and better. So it's not that it's going to be absolutely perfect. It's going to be challenging. I'm just about to finish, but oh, sorry. There should be another. There's a missing slide here. Anyway, I'm gonna talk. There was another slide, probably it says another version. So currently, I'm happy to have been progress in my career. I got promoted to associate professor in the summer of 2022. One of the main reasons is because since I joined Salford in 2019, I managed to secure about 2 million in funding, which is something that so that I can lead a research group. I can bring money to produce high quality research. I also managed to get involved, and this is one of the situations I advise approach people. I managed to get involved in one of these NASA groups. So I'm an expert in one of the NASA groups on urban mobility. So this is just happening myself approaching someone in NASA saying, okay, I'm doing this, you're doing this interesting research, can we talk? And basically they invite me to be a member of that group. And actually last summer I was in July, I was there in NASA with them. I've been taking part in a number of committees, as Ellie mentioned this morning, ISO committees, UKAN Plus, Transportation Board, all these committees. It's really important that you show yourself leadership, that you get your prestige as an expert. So I just probably finishing now with the take-home message is if you are you are aiming to get an academic post, it might be a long run. Be patient. You want to do research? There are opportunities. It's not only academia. There are other research institutions, large consultancies probably as well. I was talking to someone at lunchtime that there are now large consultancies like Arup, ICOM, where they try to do a bit of research. I know colleagues, former postdocs at Salford working on these companies, continue doing research. Don't be afraid of approaching senior colleagues for advice or opportunities, and be proactive and define your own research and trying to secure your own funding, because you're going to need to do that if you want to do research in academia. And I think that's all. Thank you. Do we wait?
So we have one question.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we can discuss later.
Yeah, so do you think that